Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raka'ah, Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders, and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath, Dawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Sunday evening camp, Lord willing, it be edifying. Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with, excuse me. This is gonna be the book of Sirach. It's gonna be the book of Sirach, chapter 28. I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, "He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord, and he will surely keep his sins in remembrance." Okay? So, in this society, man, you know, we're not supposed to take matters into our own hands, okay? Because, you know, if someone does you wrong and then you get angry and you decide to take those matters in your own hands to try to get even with that person, to get revenge, you know, that will be the moment that, you know, they call the authorities on you, and then there you go. Excuse me. Off to the jailhouse, okay? You know, that's why the scriptures say, you know, vengeance belongeth unto me, saith the Lord. I shall repay, okay? Vengeance is mine, I will repay, thus saith the Lord, okay? Okay, the Lord is the one that fights for us, okay? We don't fight for ourselves. Okay, verse 2, "Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee, so shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest." So you have to forgive, man. Okay, remember, we're not above anybody, okay? We fuck up too, just like everybody else. So, you know, if someone does you wrong, forgive them, okay? That way, you know, and pray about it. So that way the Lord will have mercy on you, and then, you know, let the Lord take care of the rest, okay? You know, and just roughly paraphrasing, "Thou shalt not offend thy little ones," okay? If anybody offends one of the little ones of the Most High, being, you know, his sons, Lord willing, that be us, the prophets, you know, Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to deal with them. Excuse me. But yeah, you know. So remember, the Lord, he's the one that's in control of everything, not us. Okay, we have no power. Verse 3, "One man beareth hatred against another, and doeth he seek pardon from the Lord? He showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself, and doeth he ask forgiveness of his own sins?" Verse 5, "If he that is but flesh nourish hatred, who will entreat for pardon of his sins?" Okay? So, if you're someone that, you know, that bears hatred, shows no mercy, you know, how do you expect to receive mercy in return for the things that you've done? Okay? You yourself weren't a good person, and you treat others like, you know, you bear hatred towards someone, you do someone else wrong, or you hurt somebody. How do you expect to receive forgiveness for what you know, how do you expect to receive forgiveness for, you know, for your own for your own mistakes? Okay? As that saying goes, you know, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay? Verse 6, "Remember thy end, and let enmity cease." Okay, enmity, meaning hatred. Let it cease, meaning, you know, let that shit go. Okay? You know, like I said before in one of my previous lessons, you know, holding grudges, having resentment towards someone, let that shit go, because holding grudges and having resentment, you know, when you hold a grudge against somebody, you know, you're basically letting that person know, as well as yourself know, that they beat you, they won. Because you're basically letting them live in your head rent free. That shows that you like I said, you let them beat you. You feel insecure and inferior when they're around, just because of what they did, just because they got inside your head or whatever the case, they did you wrong, and all of a sudden you just can't let it go. You're obsessed with this person. You think about this person. You know, let him live in your head rent free. Ultimately, that's a demon, man. That's the insecurity demon. Okay? And you know, speaking from someone who has from someone who has experience, you know, I used to hold grudges, and it's a sickness, man. It's a real sickness. You know, whether someone does you wrong or not, or disrespects you some way, like I said, man, you know, yeah, you know, our flesh, it speaks, you know, we're angry, but we have to remember that, you know, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is trying us daily and see how we deal in certain situations using wisdom. There are certain things you could do to avoid getting, you know, fucked over or hurt or betrayed, but you know, at the end of the day, man, it's the Lord that will take care of all your problems. Okay, because you know, the moment we do something, you know, trouble, then that's when trouble comes. Okay, we're not right. Lord willing that we will be. Okay, let me read a verse. Ecclesiasticus, aka Sirach, chapter 28, verse 6. Remember thy end and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments. Okay, so remember corruption and death. You know, while being in this truth, man, we have to act, excuse me, we have to carry ourselves in a certain manner, okay? We have to learn to develop what they call a thick skin, okay? We can't let people razz us, get under our skin, make us upset, or, you know, we can't, like the old saying goes, show no emotion lest ye give them power over you, okay? Just stay calm and just ignore them, okay? People are trolls nowadays. Trolls are people who they're miserable themselves. And they seek entertainment by fucking with other people. Getting them all roused up for nothing, just for the sole purpose of entertainment, because they have nothing better to do with their lives. That's just the type of individuals that they are. Verse 7. Remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest, and wink at ignorance. Okay, so remember the commandments. Remember what you've been taught by these scriptures. Okay, remember what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has. Remember who you're doing this for. You're doing it for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, remember what you've been taught. Okay, remember the things that you've been taught and apply them, so that way it becomes that much easier for you to you know, to deal and move accordingly in this society and dealing with people as a whole. Okay, you know, no matter where you go, where you work, or just in general, doesn't matter who you deal with. You know, when you've dealt with someone for so long, you get to know how they are, their habits, you know, their personality and all that. You know, this book here teaches you how to deal with them. Okay, if this person's causing you problems, you know, move away from them. Unless you have the patience to deal with that kind of bullshit, by all means. But you know, you don't want no one to be a hindrance unto you, or, you know, vex your spirit. The best thing for you to do is just to move away from those people that bring about that vibe where, you know, they vex you, they make you lose focus. Verse 8, and wink at ignorance. So, you know, so remember the covenant of the highest, Okay, remember, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, you know, he woke us up. Okay? He woke us up to remember that covenant. Excuse me. That we belong to him and that we serve him. Okay? Every little thing that we deal with in this society is a test. Whether it be dealing with people, certain situations, financial problems, or anything across the board. It's all a test to see how we deal with it. That's why Elder Apostle Gabar, he says, learn to live the life of a minimalist. Okay? Learn to live with just a little bit, with just enough that you can still make it. Okay? Which means, you know, not having a lot of bullshit on your plate, so to speak. And Kenny also said, you know, learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's going to be certain things that we're going to have to deal with in these last days. Okay? Learn how to toughen up. You know, you got to train your mind. Get back to doing things the natural way. Okay? Because, you know, the comforts of this society, man, they're going to be taken away. Okay? You won't no longer have the use of, you know, take away social media. Just take away the internet. Take away, you know, running water and electricity. You know, take all that shit away from people. Close down the banks, the ATM, so people don't have access to their money. Okay? Those are uncomfortable situations. Okay, and it's, okay, before I continue on with that, but, and wink at ignorance. So, you know, if people don't know any better, just, you know, they don't know no better. No need to get bent out of shape and go off on someone and cuss them out. They just don't know any better. The 2/3 don't know any better, so, you know, that's why we really just don't bother to get into it with them. Okay? Cast not thy pearls upon swine, you know? Let him, you know, let him that be ignorant still. Verse 8, abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins, for a furious man will kindle strife. Okay, abstain from strife, from arguments, debates, fighting. Okay? Learn to just, you know, learn how to de-escalate a situation. Use reasoning, logic. And, you know, if at all time, you know, if possible, just learn to just walk away. Just don't even get involved. Don't even bother. Abstain from, verse 8 again, abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sins. So, you know, don't get into it. Don't get into arguments and debates and all that stuff. All it's going to do is be, you know, a problem unto you. And it says, for a furious man will kindle strife. A furious man. A man who is full of, wrath, anger. Okay? They like to stir up shit. Okay? And that's a lot of people out here. They like to stir up shit to cause a scene because they want attention. Okay? People like that, man, they are nothing but fucking trouble. That's why the best thing to do is to just mind your own fucking business and go about your day. Verse 9, a sinful man disquieteth friends, and maketh debate among them that be at peace. So a sinful man disquieteth friends and maketh debate among them that are at peace. So, again, a man likes to, you know, a sinful man likes to stir up shit. You know, he causes his friends to just, you know, just not want to have anything to do with him. You know, he just, and that's the thing, man, even trolls, Even they like to stir up bullshit with their own friends. They like that shit. That makes their day. Like I said, miserable people need company. Misery needs company. Without that company, they're even more miserable. Okay? People like that, you just gotta learn to ignore them and just move on. Okay, verse 10. As the matter of the fire is, so it burneth, and as a man's strength is, so is his wrath. And according to his riches, his anger riseth. And the stronger they are which contend, the more they will be inflamed. Okay, verse 11. And hasty contention kindleth a fire, and a hasty fighting sheddeth blood. So, don't be hasty to stir up shit, because as things, as like in certain arguments, things could escalate if people keep getting more and more, angry, more furious, getting up in each other's faces, pushing each other back, getting physical and all that. That kind of shit right there stirs up a fight, and eventually that fight is going to lead to someone getting seriously hurt or worse. Okay? And that's why, people like that, man, that people that say that they love confrontation, love stirring up shit, love getting on other people's faces, just try to be that macho shit. Yeah, that kind of behavior, man, is completely out of pocket. And it doesn't show that you're a man at all. It just shows that you're a little boy that doesn't know how to just control himself. Okay? Real men don't fucking stir up shit like that. Okay, real men know how to solve a problem, de-escalate the situation, and things go back to normal. There doesn't need to be any fist getting involved. But, if someone puts their hands on you and they attack you, by all means, you have every right to defend yourself. As the book of Exodus chapter 15 verse 3 says, the Lord is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Okay? And if we be his his people, his nation, we are also a people of war. Okay? But that doesn't mean that we go around colonizing and conquering. No. It's just there's a time and place for everything, We're well within our rights to defend ourselves. It's just don't be the one that, just don't be the aggressor. Verse 12 it says, verse 12 it says, if thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. Both these come out of thy mouth. Okay, verse 13, curse the whisperer and double-tongued, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. So curse the whisperer and the double-tongued. Okay, the whisperer, someone who likes to gossip, talk shit behind other people's back. And the double-tongued, someone who's two-faced. From like someone who will act a certain way right in front of you, but the moment you turn their back, their true colors show. Those type of people are the ones that destroy peace. Okay, they stir up strife. Verse 14, a backbiting tongue hath disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities hath it pulled down, and overthrown the houses of great men. Okay, so basically someone who, like I said, who gossips, spreads rumors. These type of people, man, they can cause a lot of problems. Okay? They can cause distrust, betrayal, which further ultimately leads to, destruction, which could have been avoided. Okay? Verse 15. It says, a backbiting tongue hath cast out virtuous women, and deprived them of their labors. Verse 16, whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest, and never dwell quietly. So, if you believe in lies, rumors, and gossips, you know, you'll never find rest for your soul, man. Okay? That's, you know, people who, you know, gossip or whisper behind someone else's back, man, just the best thing to do is to ignore that shit. Because you don't want to get caught up into something that had nothing to do with you in the first place. Verse 17. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh bones. Excuse me. That's why also the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So, what words you speak can affect others, and vice versa. Okay? That's why it says soft lips or sweet words turneth away wrath. Okay? Learn how to, you know, not use words that are insulting, that are only going to stir up the situation. That's why you got to learn how to talk to people, because, you know, having good social skills is part of using wisdom. You know, how to deal with people, how to turn things into your favor, how to de-escalate something that could you know, potentially turn out to be conflict. Nowadays, people nowadays, the way things are, people are so on edge that just the slightest thing, the slightest slight, can set them off, and before you know it, a fight broke out, or someone gets shot and killed, or unalived, or ends up in the hospital in critical condition. You look at someone the wrong way, next thing you know, it's on. Or if you accidentally bump into someone, they're ready to go. That, you see, that's why, you know, especially in the times that we're living in right now, man, you really have to watch yourself and these people, because these people, man, these people are a lot more impatient. They're more prone to outburst, anger, you know, amongst other things. So you really got to watch yourself out here. In verse 18, many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue. So more people have fallen by the power of the tongue, the mouth, man. Like I said, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Okay? You can cause someone to be wrongfully put to death for nothing, over rumors or gossip or lies, more than just someone falling by the edge of the sword in war. And you know, a lot of people don't realize that. Verse 19, well is he that is defended from it, and hath not passed through the well, okay, let me start over. Sirach chapter 28, verse 19. Well is he that is defended from it, and hath not passed through the venom thereof, who hath not drawn the yoke thereof, nor hath been bound in her bands. Okay? So, well is him that is defended from it. That's, you know, kept away from the negative power of the tongue, man. Someone, you know, you know, you know, a lot of people won't agree with this, but keeping your mouth shut and not revealing too much, nor saying anything, you know, no whispering, no gossiping and all that, just being quiet and keeping your mouth shut, not only keeps you out of trouble, but it ultimately saves your life. That's why it's best just to be quiet. Verse 20, for the yoke thereof is a yoke of iron, and the bands thereof are bands of brass. Verse 21, the death thereof is an evil death. The grave were better than it. 22, it shall not have rule over them that fear the Most High, neither shall they be burnt with the flame thereof. Okay? So your own mouth can be your own downfall, man, depending on what words that come out of your mouth. So sometimes you just shut up. Okay? The less you talk, the more trouble you avoid, and the less trouble you'll have. You know? Just, like I said, leave people alone. And, you know, and even if people bother you, man, just ignore them. Okay? Verse 23, such as forsake the Lord shall fall into it, and it shall burn in them, and not be quenched. It shall be sent upon them as a lion, and devour them as a leopard. 24, look that thou hedge thy possession about with thorns, and bind up with thy silver and gold. 25, and weigh thy words in a balance, and make a door and bar from your mouth, for thy mouth. Verse 26, beware thou slide not by it, lest thou fall before him that lieth in wait. So ultimately, man, just watch your tongue, okay? Learn to be more quiet. You know, I get it. There are people in this life that have that piss you off, and you want to say something, but sometimes it's best to just leave it alone, because that person can just be getting a rise out of you just so that they could have something going, attention seekers, okay? I mean, if someone's trying to throw you under the bus for no reason, try to get you in trouble, yeah, you have every right to speak up for yourself, to keep your, to avoid that situation, avoid it from getting worse. Yeah, you have every right to speak up for yourself, but, there's a time and place for everything, man. And this is going to be Sirach chapter 29. Starting at verse 1, and it says, he that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor, and he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments. Verse 2, lend to thy neighbor in time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season. Okay? So, that's another thing too, is, even though we're supposed to, we're being this true, we're supposed to be men of reason, spiritual men, and, just being, carrying ourselves in a certain manner according to Scripture, but, not dealing with people of this world and all that, but, and especially when dealing with a brother, be merciful, lend to a brother if they need help, and then, and in time they pay you back, it doesn't hurt to help people, but just don't do it to the point where you hinder yourself. Verse 3, keep thy word and deal faithfully with him, and thou shalt always find the thing that is necessary for thee. So keep thy word and deal faithful. So be honest and, own up to your word, and don't back out. Don't renege on it. All right? Verse 4, many, when a thing was lent them, reckoned it to be found, and put them into trouble that helped them. Okay? So, verse 5, till he hath received, he will kiss a man's hand, and for his neighbor's money he will speak submissively. But when he should repay, he will prolong the time and return words of grief and complain of the time. Okay? So, when you're dealing with someone, when it comes to lending something to somebody, like especially money, and they don't pay you back, they give you words of grief and complain that they can't pay you back, it's like, that becomes an issue, right? So it's just, you got to, like I said, you got to be careful in how you deal with people and who you deal with and who to lend to. You can't always lend to everybody. Verse 6, if he prevail, he shall hardly receive the half, and he will count as if he had found it. If not, he hath deprived him of his money, and hath gotten him an enemy without cause. He payeth him with cursings and railings, and for honor he will pay him disgrace. Okay? So when you use people like that, you become an enemy without cause, man. You become their enemy. And you pay them, and that person pays them back with cursings and railings, man. That right there, you causes people to not trust you. And you become a continual problem. All right? And you, instead of repaying them with honor, you pay them with disgrace. You shame them. Okay, so like I said back in verse 3, keep thy word and deal faithfully. Okay? And that's a problem, especially with our people nowadays. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and the speckled bird whose father's line goes back. You guys don't own up to your word or deal faithfully. There's always some bullshit or excuse. Verse 7, many therefore have refused to lend for others ill-dealing, fearing to be defrauded. Yeah, because they don't trust people. They don't want to get fucked over. They don't want to be used. They don't want to be manipulated. So, and hey, speaking to myself first and foremost, before I came into this truth, I've always had severe trust issues. I just could not trust anybody. And being in this truth, I've really learned, there are people that you can trust, but still, and that's the brotherhood, those that are faithfully in this truth. Those are the ones you can trust. But when it comes to certain people of this society, man, in fact, the majority of them, you cannot trust. Okay? Back then, I couldn't trust anybody. Nobody. I was extremely selfish. Verse 8, yet have thou patience with a man in poor state, and delay not to show him mercy. So have patience in dealing with someone who's in a situation where they're really struggling, and be merciful. Okay. You have to understand, man. There's a lot of our people that are in a very a tight spot where they're struggling financially, or they don't have no food, no water, or they're just struggling. They don't have a job and they're about to be kicked out from their apartment. There are people that are in certain situations, man, where it's just like, damn. Verse 9, help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty. Okay, so help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn not him away that's in poverty, man. Don't reject people that are in need, because one day you turn that person away, in the future, like a few weeks or a couple months down the road, that person, you see that person again, they're doing all right, but you yourself, you're in a fucked up situation. They're gonna remember that time when they were in need, and now that they see that you're in a situation where you need help, they're gonna be like, no, because they're gonna be like, no, I'm not helping you. You didn't help me. Why should I help you? So, by being, but it never hurts to be courteous or generous, because, By doing so, you could gain a friend. You know? So, you know, it never hurts to be courteous and generous, because it does go a long way. It does. All right. Now it says here, 10, lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. So, you know, help a brother or a friend that's in need. You know, and don't waste that money on something that you could have put that money to better use for, but you wasted on something that wasn't really, you know, necessary. Verse 11, lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. And it says, verse 12, shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction. Verse 13, it shall fight for thee against thine enemies, better than a mighty shield and strong spear. Verse 14, an honest man is surety for his neighbor, but he that is impudent will forsake him. Verse 15, forget not the friendship of thy surety, for he hath given his life for thee. Verse 16, a sinner will overthrow the good estate of his surety. Verse 17, and he that is unthankful, that is of an unthankful mind, will leave him in danger that delivered him. Okay? So, people that have integrity, that are honest, and that, you know, that are of surety, you know, those are the ones that are able to gain and hold on to friendship and trust. But those that are unthankful, impudent, ungrateful, you know, they'll fuck you over in a heartbeat. They're all about them, and they're all about basically looking out for number one. And they're willing to sacrifice anyone, even if that person that they sacrificed was someone that saved them out of a situation. They're willing to fuck them over just so they can get, you know, use them as a stepping stone. Fuck them over and get what they want. You know? And you're going to have a lot of, you know, and you have a lot of people that are like that nowadays. And it's going to be even more so in the time of Jacob's trouble, because the time of adversity is going to reveal your true colors, or what type of person you really are. It's going to reveal to you, Jacob's trouble is going to reveal just exactly what type of people are all around us. It's going to reveal to us all their qualities, their true qualities, what type of person they are. Are they trustworthy? Are they untrustworthy? Do they have your back, or are they trying to fuck you over? Are they on your side, or are they just trying to, or are they just, are they on your side, or are they on someone else's side, or are they just looking out for themselves? We're going to see it. We're going to see it. Okay? In these last days, we're going to see the true nature of everybody. You're going to see the true nature of your earthly family. You're going to see if they generally care about you or if they don't. And, you know, everybody's going to go through hell, but even the elect are going to go through hell, but their hell is not going to be as bad as everybody else's. It's going to be bad, but the elect are not going to be in, you know, they're not going to have it so hard like everybody else is, because, you know, Lord willing, that we are of the elect, that we've been doing what we've been, you know, commanded to do. Staying out of trouble, you know, keeping the law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability, fasting, praying, and studying, and, you know, just growing in this truth, as well as, you know, building yourself up, you know, taking better care of your body, your health, your mind, you know, You know, and learning how to be at peace, okay? Examining yourself, knowing what type of person that you are, okay? You know, because at the end of the day, the Jacob, only the elect are going to pass that final test, and that final test is Jacob's trouble. Okay, Sirach chapter 29, verse 18. Suretyship hath undone many of good estate, and shake them as a wave of the sea. Mighty men hath it driven from their houses, so that they wandered among strange nations. Verse 19, a wicked man transgressing the commandments of the Lord shall fall into suretyship. And he that is understanding, or he that undertaketh and followeth after men's business for gain shall fall into suits. Okay? So suretyship hath, and wickedly has, fucked over a lot of people, made them lose possessions of things, and and those that follow after a wicked man that fall into suretyship, they're gonna follow suit. They're gonna fall too. Okay. Don't follow after someone. Don't let a wicked person lead you, because they're just gonna use you. Okay. No point in following them, because they may come off and seem like a righteous leader, but really, man, they only use people. To them, people are a resource. And I don't know if you guys watch The Walking Dead. That's how Negan was when he was the leader of the Saviors in that show. His people were to him, they were nothing but a resource. And they all followed him blindly, like faithfully. Like he was some type of God to be revered. And anybody that went against him, he made a public example out of him. See, that's the thing. People like that, they know how to get inside other people's heads and get them to, bend them to their will and get them to do as they want them to do. Okay? Master manipulators. People who know how to control others with words and actions. People like that. You're gonna see people like that in these last days, man. You see people like that now. Gangs, drugs lords, and so on and so forth. They have that influence over people. They have that charisma that draws people towards them to where, they want to follow this person. Okay? So, you really gotta, that's another thing too, man. You can't, that's why you gotta pray for discernment, so that way, you gotta pray for discernment so that way you can tell the difference between someone who is genuine versus someone who knows how to manipulate others. It's gonna be tough, because in these last days, man, you're not gonna be able to trust anybody but the brotherhood, and ultimately Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Because, as the scriptures say, some shall depart from the faith. So we're really gonna see who's been sifted, who's gonna just, who the Lord's gonna sift out, who the Lord is going to, show that, hey, this person was not genuine, true, and faithful. Okay, we're gonna see it. We are gonna see that. We're gonna see people, bug out. We're gonna see people turn their backs on the brotherhood. Some of them are gonna take that. Some of them are gonna take that digital bug in their hand or in their forehead. We're Don't be surprised when it happens, because the scriptures tell you. Okay, verse 20. Help thy neighbor according to thy power, and beware that thou thyself fall not into the same. Okay, so don't fall into that same position where you become, a hindrance, or someone who's unreliable, someone that's untrustworthy. Don't become that guy, because the Lord will see it. He says, okay, so that's how you want to deal with one of your brothers? Okay, I got something for you. So, try to, keep thy word and deal faithfully. Okay? That's what, and the Lord, he's starting to really, as things start to escalate throughout these weeks and coming toward election, and who knows what's going to happen after that, the Lord is really going to start enforcing, that discipline. Okay, he's going to make things harder. Things are going to become more uncomfortable. Okay, in verse 21, it says, the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. Okay, so those are the basics of life: water, food, clothing, and a house, a place to keep, your head covered. But nowadays, as time goes, as things get harder, people are not going to have that anymore. Okay, because of if you've been paying attention to what's going on, sometime in October next month, there's going to be I heard that there was going to be a port strike. People who work on the docks, they're going to go on strike. And those ports that bring in all those imports from other countries, that trade, that business, that commerce, what they have on those ships, man, has food, water, and other things. They won't be available. So be prepared for higher prices and less items in the stores. Okay, that's letting you know that the Lord he's tightening that grip. He's going to make things harder. And when people are in a state of discomfort, that's when you're going to really see what kind of person that they are, to see how they deal with this situation. That's the test. Now, and also that's another thing too, clothing. Clothing in a house to cover shame. People that have a dwelling place, they won't be able to afford it. And well, not just that, but you're going to have other people breaking into their house, stealing their shit, killing their families, and raping their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, their wives. It's going to get really bad. People, the people here in America, and even the other countries say, even people in Russia, they've said that the people here in America are lazy, they're undisciplined, they eat unhealthy food, they're spoiled, they're entitled. And all those stereotypes are correct. The people here in America are not tough at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. Not physically, especially not mentally or emotionally, and ultimately not spiritually. The people here in America are weak. Weak. In verse 22, it says, better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. Verse 23, be it little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house. Verse 24, for it is a miserable life to go from house to house, for where thou art a stranger, thou darest not to open thy mouth. Okay? Verse 25, then thou shalt entertain and feast and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words. Okay? So, I'm going to go back to verse 22. It says, better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. So better the life it is being poor. Better it is to be poor, living in, in a house that's, how can I put it? Better is to be poor and living a life of quiet than to be in another man's house, than be in the, let me read it again. Salakia. Verse 22, better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. So it's better to dwell in your own house than to be in another man's house that's full of revelings, a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of distractions. Okay, it's better for you to be poor, being in your own place where it's quiet and you have your own space. And it says here, verse 23, be it little or much, hold thee contented. So be content with what you have. Don't be ungrateful or unthankful, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house. 24, for it is a miserable life to go from house to house, for where thou art a stranger. Yeah, that is miserable. And it's also dangerous, because wandering from house to house and you're a complete stranger, the family doesn't know you, they don't, for all you know, they could think you're a threat. And they, who knows how they might react to you. They might have a gun to your face. And, and even if they invite you into your house and they let you stay for the night, you gotta sleep with one eye open, because they don't know you and you don't know them. Hell, you might not be able to sleep at all. So, yeah, it's miserable wandering from house to house, because you have no dwelling place of your own. You're constantly on the move. You have no rest. You have no shelter. That's a hard life, being a vagabond like that. That's a hard life, man, because you have nothing. You have nowhere to go. Excuse me. 25, thou shalt entertain and feast and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words. Verse 26, come thou stranger, and furnish a table, and feed me of that thou hast ready. Verse 27, give place, thou stranger, to an honorable man. My brother cometh to be lodged, and I have need of mine house. These things are grievous to a man of understanding, the upbraiding of house room, and reproaching the lender. So, man, even if you invite someone into your house, a stranger, that's still grievous to you, because you don't know this person, they don't know you, you don't know what kind of problems could go about, and you don't want no uncomfortable tensions in the household, okay? But with an honorable man, yes. To an honorable man, especially if it's someone that you know of and you can trust, yeah, give them shelter. But to a stranger, it's no, because you don't know this person, you don't know what their intentions are, you don't know what they're capable of. And there's gonna come a time where, certain brothers are gonna lose their house or their apartment, and you may have to share a little extra space in your own house for them. It's coming to that. It really is. Okay? So, the moral of this lesson is, learn how to deal wisely with the tongue and how to deal wisely with people. Just basically learn how to deal wisely with people. Because you just don't, especially the way people are now, you just don't know. You just don't know what could happen. Anything could happen at any moment. Okay, because now people are more on edge than they've ever been, especially with this whole election thing. All right? And that's all I had for this camp lesson. Lord willing that it was edifying. So, we're almost out of here, which means that, the closer we are to the end, to the goal, man, the harder it's going to get. Okay? So don't give up. Keep the faith. Just keep that eye single and keep your eyes on the prize, which is the kingdom and that crown. All right? And with that, I'm going to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raka'ak Wadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Ba'ath Dawada, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Abba Babal, Shalom, Barakatam.